Welcome to the Wellness Hub podcast, a show dedicated to uncovering the future of healthy living. Each week, we aim to bring you content that supports your personal health journey through insightful conversations with amazing guests. We explore various topics ranging from healthy eating, technology, fitness, mindfulness, and more. Now let's join our host, Drew Munro, co-founder and CEO of Up Meals, a Vancouver-based food tech startup on a mission to make healthy meals accessible through technology.
Hello and welcome to the Wellness Hub. As always, we are thrilled to have you with us for yet another edition of Wellness Wednesday. Every single week, we're hosting amazing guests discussing important topics ranging from entrepreneurship and technology to health, wellness, fitness, and mindfulness. And as always, we hope you find these conversations valuable and insightful on your own wellness journeys. Our special guest tonight is a certified personal trainer and nutrition specialist who transformed her own life through exercise, nutrition, and mindset training. Now, she's passionate about helping other people love their bodies and transform their lives too. But beyond that, our guest tonight is a staunch advocate of mental health. Her personal training regimen is as much about mental fitness as it is about toning your body. And at the core of her fitness approach is appreciating your body as it is so you can transform from a place of love. And that is exactly the kind of revolutionary and forward-thinking approach that we just love to talk about right here on the Wellness Hub. We'll be diving deep with our guest tonight to understand how mental health factors into fitness, the most common nutrition mistakes that we're all making, and how goal setting can transform your life, and also how to train your subconscious mind to unlock your full potential. Our guest tonight is a certified personal trainer, nutrition specialist offering custom-tailored programs so her clients have a clear, science-based path towards their dream body. And as a result, as a reminder, as we discuss these important topics, please comment with your questions on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever you are watching. We'll be answering audience questions all throughout the show tonight. So without further ado, please welcome our special guest this evening, Meghan Faye. Meghan, welcome to the Wellness Hub.
Hi, Drew. How are you? I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. We're so happy that you're here as well. So, you have a great journey and a great story. I'd love to learn more about your own fitness journey and how you found your way into personal training.
So I am really passionate about what I do because it comes from such a personal place. And when I first came into the world, I had no idea about fitness, nutrition. I was raised in a family where they didn't really prioritize exercise too much. My father was a good example of what you could do. He just sort of made exercise a part of his daily life. And it was just like brushing his teeth. It was just something that got done. He went to the gym, but I didn't live with my dad. And growing up, I just lived in a house where eating fat was demonized because this was like the 90s. And it was when we grew up in a house where like everything was margarine, low fat, which of course meant like highly processed and trans fat filled and sugar filled. I grew up on that type of food, and I have a very, very, very sweet tooth. And so I was just eating, basically just eating what I now know is really essentially for my body. And I grew up in general, so I had some problems with esteem, my self-worth, and then coming from a place where I had no idea about nutrition or fitness or how it could affect me, my feelings, my body, my mind. I was just really, really lost. So when growing up, I had addiction issues. I had deep depression and anxiety. I was always seeing doctors, psychiatrists, counselors, on. And they would always try to talk about my feelings. And oh, wait, before I say anything else, there's nothing wrong with like counselors and doctors. There's nothing wrong with medicine. There's nothing wrong with all of that stuff. All that is very, very useful and has a place. But what really made me feel almost angry and betrayed by like the medical field was that I had seen so many so badly in my teen life and my early adult life, and not once did they mention, hey, nutrition is a key part in our brain and body health. And your brain, where you're having all these like mental health issues, your brain is actually a part of your body. They were always treating like, this is a mental health issue. This is mental health. It has nothing to do with your body. And then when I was a heavy smoker, I smoked cigarettes. I thought, like, I
Wow.
smoked so many cigarettes that I really thought that it was a part of my personality. I was like, this is who I am, which is just crazy looking back on it now. And people sometimes don't believe me, like, excuse me. But I smoked heavily, and I eventually, in my early 20s, I quit smoking. I was in deep depression. I knew that I had to, it was one of those moments where, that motivation comes because everything is piling on, and it's like that do or die moment. And I knew I had to change something. And so I quit smoking, and I started researching how to basically be happy, and how to prevent cancer, because I was like, well, certainly I'm going to get cancer from all this smoking that I did. When I researched how to how to prevent cancer, and how to like be happier, somebody said to me once, we were talking about a mutual friend who was a very, very depressed person, but extremely smart, just like, Ivy League schools, and just super high intelligence. And my friend said about our other friend, he's so smart. You'd think he's smart enough to figure out how to be happy, which of course can sound offensive to people who have like real depression, and it's not something that you can think your way out of. I'm not implying that, but it was a funny way to look at this thing that sort of sparked something in my head, where I was like, well, I think I'm smart enough to figure out how to not be so depressed. So it's literally, I just started researching, and what I found was a huge component of how you feel in your mind is what you put in your body, and how you're moving your body. And then the other thing is, so like movement, nutrition, and mindset. Mindset's the last one, where I had to really not only make these physical changes in my life, but I had to make sure that my mind was catching up with the physical changes that I was making, so that
And you touched on something kind of, and I just want to touch on something you said really quickly, because I think it's really important. You mentioned that sort of for you, like the fitness, the element of fitness, like a lot of people think I'm going to go work out so I can look awesome, and I can look amazing, and I can be more attractive, right? And for you, it's really, that's not the biggest draw. It's about, you mentioned strengthening your brain chemistry, building that resolve for life outside the gym. So talk to me, you mentioned mental health. How does that factor into your approach to fitness?
So yeah, absolutely. Most people, when they come to a personal trainer like me, normally the number one on the list is, people are just like, typically, I want to change the way my body looks. I don't like the way my body looks. I want to change it. And I always tell people that the best way to really see results is to want to try to change your body from a place of caring for your body and not hating your body. Your results will be so much greater if you come from a place of, I'm going to take care of my body like a parent takes care of a child. I want to take good care of this thing that's my companion for life. So mental health, there are a few functions that happen when you start to add exercise into your daily life. Basically, we all, like, you've heard about endorphins and dopamine, things that get released when you work out. That is 100% true. Sometimes people can't feel it. Like, sometimes people are like, where's that runner's high? I just run and I hate it. But eventually you'll get there. And part of that is mindset as well. But so with working out right immediately, you get a hit. It is similar to a drug. You get a hit of this dopamine, brain-derived neurotropic factor, which decreases stress, pain in the body. there's a sort of meditative effect that happens with physical exercise where you have to actually be focused on what you're doing. There's no room for outside distraction. If you're, I do all kinds of different exercises. If you're going to a barbell and you're going to do a heavy deadlift, you want to be thinking about what your body is doing. You want to be dropped in to your body so you can have no outside distractions. That's a sort of form of meditation, and that is it's what can add to your mental health outside of the gym.
And now
Additionally,
there's two.
sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was just gonna say there's something you touched on there, like once people start to feel you almost referenced it as a high, that rush of feeling great after a workout. But one of the obstacles that I think people have, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, of getting there. My own mom is actually one of these people where people get intimidated by two things: this overwhelming nutritional overload of information of like, what should I eat, what diet should I follow, and the other thing is sort of this intimidating like gym culture, where like there's all these machines and equipment for people that don't know how to do that. Like, what's your advice for someone to like that's brand new to fitness, that wants to improve their life but is intimidated to get started?
Well, really, I would suggest hiring a personal trainer, at least at the beginning of your journey. It doesn't have to be like a lifelong thing. You can hire a personal trainer, one that's knowledgeable, one that you feel a connection with, and they will give you so much information, because starting from scratch, it is so intimidating. Walking into a gym, when you don't know the names of any of the machines, you don't know what they do. It's like you could sit down on a machine. Do I push out or do I pull in? Like, do my arms go here? It's very intimidating. So I think starting with a personal trainer can be so helpful in just getting comfortable. I think just showing up to a gym and just literally showing up there and sort of like looking at other people. Sometimes you can look at somebody and go like, okay, well, they just did that machine. I'm going to like run over and just kind of copy what they did. It's a really good place to start. I would say definitely start. Don't think of it as like an all or nothing journey. Every single person in the gym had a first day there. Every single person. Also, we tend to think that all the eyes are on us and, oh my gosh, I walk in here and everyone thinks I'm dumb or a goof because I don't know what these machines are. And when I talk to my clients, I tell them, people really aren't paying attention to you.
Nobody cares. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
If somebody is paying attention to you and judging you, then they're a jerk whose opinion you don't have to account.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I always try to get people to remember, like, people really aren't paying any attention to you, and just getting in there and getting comfortable as though the gym is like your living room, just someplace that you go and get really comfortable there.
And the other part of that is sort of that nutrition part, where I think sometimes people kind of like overcomplicate it and they psych themselves out of like what they should be eating. So, you've been working with so many clients, you're involved, you're up to date on the trends. What are some of the common, I guess, nutritional mistakes or pitfalls that you find your clients falling into? And like, what are some really simple things that anyone can do to like improve their own level of nutrition?
Nutrition is so complicated because of the studies that are out there. Every day a new study is coming in and saying like, oh, hey, it turns out that red meat is really bad for you. Oh, just kidding, it's really great for you, and it'll make you live forever. It goes on and on with pretty much every food. And the deeper you go into learning about nutrition, the more contradictions you'll find, which is very frustrating. So what I have a few principles that I try to tell my clients to start with so that they are not overwhelmed. One, I always try to focus with nutrition on adding stuff. When you think about nutrition, when you think about what can I eat, I want you to just think about all this good stuff, an abundance of colorful, rich, delicious, fresh foods. I want you to think of abundance and what you can have. I don't want my clients to be thinking about restriction, because that's when things get messy, and when you're depriving yourself, you can get out of whack, and then you can go and say like, oh, I haven't had those Oreos in 3 weeks, and now I'm gonna go eat a bag of them because I'm feeling frustrated or whatever. So I try to have people add some dark green leafy vegetables to your day. Try to add every day, have at least some like dark green vegetable. Just start there. And then when you add stuff to your diet that's nice, lean, well sourced meats, lots of vegetables, healthy fats. When you start adding that and thinking about all the stuff you can eat, it kind of pushes out some of the stuff that you shouldn't be eating, or like, shouldn't be eating or don't want to be eating.
And that's you touched on something really great. It's almost like it's a mental trick, because a lot of people that are new to fitness and nutrition, when you say, okay, we're going to eat nutritious food, they immediately make a correlation to a diet, and probably to a crash diet from the 90s or the 80s that you referenced earlier, where suddenly you're only going to be eating, two things, and you got to cut everything else out. So like it's awesome to think that you're actually going to be eating a better diet and adding these nutrient dense foods, and you're not really giving up that much of your experience of what you had before. I love that you're focusing on that element, because I think that's really, really powerful. And speaking of something that's, a little bit of a mental fortitude, a test of mental fortitude, I want to talk about some of the addictions that you referenced earlier. You mentioned you had a smoking habit, a caffeine addiction, I believe, as well. So talk to me about your own journeys, walking yourselves through getting out of that. And what advice would you have for somebody that's struggling with their own addiction, whatever it may be?
So I have had so many addictions. It is, some people find that they haven't like an addictive personality. That I'm not sure how much credibility there is in that like the personalities themselves being addictive. But typically people who have these behaviors are, generally speaking, trying to like run from something. They're trying to tamp down some sort of feeling. So usually it's helpful to figure out, like, just ask yourself, you can just check in, hey, what am I doing this behavior for? What am I avoiding? What am I trying to feel? So just an awareness of that and checking in with yourself. Some people it's hard to do because they're not, you kind of have yourself to know what you're actually thinking and feeling in your own body and mind. So that's a skill that you can develop with I will say, with quitting cigarette smoking. I read a book that probably people out there have heard of. It's called The Easy Way to Stop Smoking. It's by a guy named Alan Carr, who was a crazy heavy smoker. And basically, this book, anyone who's read it will attest to it, and I highly recommend it if you are a smoker. It basically just like, it's sort of it you read it, it's nothing like new, but it kind of forces you to admit that, like, it's not smoking isn't really giving you what you think it's giving you. And it asks you to not stop smoking until you finish the book. And by the end of it, it's not just my experience, it's other people's too. Like, you're dying to finish because you hate smoking. So one of the other things in that book talks about is becoming a non-smoker. You're not trying to quit, and this goes for many, many addictions, anything kind of thing that you're dealing with. You're not trying to quit. At this time, you are going to be a non-smoker. That's the gist of the book. It works differently for different addictions. Like my caffeine addiction, I didn't stop cold turkey. I tapered off, and I just basically did like the world's slowest mix of decaf and regular coffee, and I just changed those levels until it was all decaf, and then I just stopped drinking coffee. Actually, no, sometimes I still do drink it because it's nice, but just decaf, which is like boring. But the smoking, definitely, like, read that book. That's my hands down. And then with other addictions, tapping into what you're really feeling, what you're really trying to get out of it, because there's something that you're trying to get. And then a lot of the times you can replace those habits with something healthy for you. So a lot of people they drink a lot, especially, this last year, people who are drinkers, or gosh, year and a half now. It's become like I know a lot of people who've really just dove headfirst into drinking, and fitness, doing exercise of any form is a good replacement for that. So that's the
Mhm.
kind of thing where it doesn't work as well for like coffee or smoking, but definitely for like any drinking or any other like drug use that you want to get rid of.
And you've also talked about affirmations a lot. I mean, you state that in your opinion, it's one of the most powerful transformational tools available. So, in your opinion, why are affirmations so effective in achieving what you want to achieve?
Every everything I love affirmations. Everything that we in life, everything that we think, it comes from our beliefs. We're constantly affirming ourselves, affirming what we believe about ourselves, our lives, our friends, our jobs. We're constantly affirming things, whether we know it or not.
Mm,
So, for example, I just like to use myself as an example, because even if somebody hasn't been through like exactly I had gone through, generally the more specific you are, the more universal your story becomes. So forgive me, but I'm going to use myself as an example again. When I was before my big transformation, before I made the effort to really change my mind, my thoughts about life were life is really hard. It's
mm,
always hard.
mhm,
No, I'm not supported. I never felt supported. I didn't come from a family where they were like, we'll always be here for you and whatever you need. It was kind of like you're on your good luck.
yeah,
And that was how it was from the time I was young. And it was like, no, we need you to just know, like, we do not support you. And so I felt like the what life was like, I'm not supported, I'm not safe. I didn't feel
mhm,
safe. And then not to mention my just beliefs of just I had no real self-worth. That wasn't something that was sort of like given to me. When I realized all these things, I just started telling myself the opposite of every negative thing that I heard myself say. And again, this is how it has to do with becoming aware, conscious of your own thoughts, which so many people aren't aware of their own thoughts. We have the same thoughts running through our head every day. I can't remember the statistic, but some ridiculously high percentage of our thoughts are repetitive every
mm,
single day. And you can actually like get in there and intervene and change those thoughts. So I would basically just tell myself over and over again all the opposite things. And it felt crazy, especially. So this is the big one, Drew. I would look at myself in the mirror and I would say, I love you. And it's so
mm,
simple to me
mhm,
now. To me now, it's like, of course I love myself. I'm wonderful. I'm a great person. I deserve love and everything good in the world. This was not the case 10 and 10 years ago and beyond.
mm,
It was like I would look at myself as like, how could I was like, I saw people who thought that they told me that they love themselves. And I was like, how is that possible? Like, how do they do that? I just didn't have any self love at all. And I told myself repeatedly. So your brain will believe whatever it's repeatedly told, whether it's true or not. This is whatever it hears over and over again, it will believe. And so I
mm.
just told myself over and over again, I love you. And I would look at myself in the mirror, very like sort of cheesy. It works. The cheesier, the better. Like it really, truly works.
Huh.
I believe with my clients, I need them. They'll come in sometimes. My clients will say something negative about themselves. They say, "Oh, I can't do this." They can't really get an exercise or something, for example, and they say like, "Oh, I suck," and I say, "Excuse me." We can't talk like that because you hear you like you can hear you. Don't
Yeah,
say that.
yeah.
It's huge. It was life changing for me.
And it sounds so simple, almost overly simple, but the idea is quite powerful and it makes sense, right? We become what we think about, right? And this concept has been echoed through so many famous books and famous success stories of people who just told themselves simple things over and over again until it became a reality. And the same could go for the opposite end of the spectrum on the negative side. And with you now, you've transformed into this person who's essentially your job is to encourage and inspire optimism in other people. So my question from you, it sort of seems sometimes like you're drawing from a well. Do you ever feel like that, or how do you find the energy to support everyone else and cheer them on?
Well, I'm sure you may be able to feel it. my like energy and passion it just comes from my experiences, and I look at it and I'm so passionate because I'm like I just wish I had somebody in my life a little earlier who had
Mm,
like talked to me like this and told me about this and supported me in that way. And so my clients give me like they give me
mm,
the energy when I'm so I feel so lucky that I have a job where if I'm in a bad mood, if I'm having stress in my life, I have a big medical issue that I'm dealing with a very close family member that's kind of long and ongoing and very stressful. Some days you just kind of feel like, I just want to like I just don't have it in me today, like everything's not great. And then when I know I'm going to see my clients and they inspire me and I get to give them that energy and then it reciprocates. They give me that. They give me that energy.
mm.
It's just it's a I'm so lucky. Like when I talk about it, I just realize like how few people get to say that about their jobs, and so I just feel
Exactly.
so blessed.
And when you work with these clients, these wonderful, amazing people that give you, they're your source of energy, your source of motivation and happiness, and you're guiding them through these amazing transformational changes. I guess my question for you is like, what have you learned from them? What have they taught you about yourself or about what you want for yourself?
My Yeah, my clients are very inspiring. I have clients who are just these like really successful people who balance so many things in life. And when I work with these people who like are just packed, they're working, they have families, they have like goals and things that they do on the side to improve
Mm,
themselves. I have a client who, you know, she does she's a harpist, so she's constantly learning like
mm,
new new instruments while like raising a family and working. It's just these
wow.
people are amazing, and that is the biggest thing I've learned from them is just like the awe of what people, just regular everyday people are doing, and they just amaze me.
And for yourself, I mean, you're someone who advises others. What is the best piece of advice that you have ever received throughout your journey?
This is such a good question. Well, as soon as you put like a superlative, like the number one best, it's so hard.
It's like the pressure is on, right? But
Yeah.
just what's a really really good? Let's say top three or one of the top three up there.
I think the one that I'm gonna say, the one that just is coming to mind, keep your standards so high.
Mm,
Keep your
good one.
standards for yourself and your life unrealistically high, so that when other people hear what you want out of life and what your goals are, they think you're crazy.
That
And
is
don't settle.
amazing, amazing advice. That's a really really good one. Whoever gave you that advice, great job. Fist bump. That was awesome.
Isn't it?
And but it's true, right? Isn't it true? Like if you don't settle, then your life, and I think, obviously a lot of famous speakers, Tony Robbins and these people build their platforms and their programs around this, or raise your
Yes.
standards and raise your quality of
Mhm.
life, right? So super important thing that you touched on. And for yourself, you talk about these clients that you have that have jam-packed schedules, that have busy days, that are learning instruments, raising families. You've got a busy schedule for yourself as well. So I want to know, what do you do to find that balance, to really to center yourself and make sure that you're performing at your best?
For me, sleep is huge. I have to have sleep and
Mm,
water. It like these are like the most simple things, the most basic like human needs, and I honestly think the simpler the better. So
mm,
I focus on getting really quality sleep. I'm always trying to get my mindset in like a good place. Sounds like I might be like I talk to I talked to my therapist about like bypassing negative emotions because I'm always trying to get myself in a good space. So I have to like allow myself to feel the full range of human emotions, like you know the health issue that I'm dealing with. I have to allow myself to like be mad and feel frustrated and scared. But then I try to get to a like a higher place. But yeah, sleep, making protecting my schedule so that I can have good sleep. All
mm.
the lights are nice and low, lighting candles. super bright lights after nighttime. I usually do like 7 o'clock, and then everything has to
Mm,
like come down.
mm,
So that just gives me the energy to be able to do what I need to do. And then
mm,
my story, like I think the other thing that's really important is it's similar to affirmations, but building your story, like what your narrative about your life is. So like for example, when you're going through a really hard time, or if somebody is like really struggling with nutrition and fitness and is just like overwhelmed, what is your story? Is it I'm a fat slob, which of course I would never allow anyone to say,
mm,
that who has like failed? Or is it, hey, I'm experiencing, I'm a human being experiencing something really tough, and I'm going to rise up, I'm going to learn about myself and about my life, and I'm going to be better? Because those stories are really important, really
mm.
really important.
Great insights. And we have a question actually coming in from Instagram now from one of our listeners. And this question says, beyond nutrition, how should I make time and what should I do for my mental fitness?
Beyond nutrition, so mental fitness, this is great. So I'm thinking of all these nutritional things you can do. Meditation is a great thing to do
Hmm.
for mental fitness. And then basically all of the, so you mentioned goals. Thinking about your goals on a daily basis is a great way to just get your mind in tune to always being aware of what you want to accomplish.
Mm,
So with goal setting, we want to have like big long-term goals, and then we want to have the short-term goals that get us there. And then you can even break it down to, what can I do today to make sure that I am on my way to my big goals? Just things like that can help you get just tuned into your mind so that you
mm.
can really be more aware.
And you've got so many great projects on the go. You're doing such inspirational work. I'd love to know, for our listeners, where can they go to learn more about you and all the great projects that you're involved in?
So right now, my website is the best place to learn more about me. You can get in contact with me there if you want to work with me, if you want to do consultations. I do virtual sessions, so I can work with people all over the world, and I have
Mm,
done that. It's really exciting. Even before like everything went on Zoom, which is really cool. And then I also offer different packages for like if you want to just do consultations, phone calls, weekly check-ins, that kind of thing. If you don't want to do if you don't want like a personal trainer there. So, and then you
mm.
can check out my Instagram too. But website is the best place to get in contact with me.
And Megan, we have one final very important question. All of our conversations here on the Wellness Hub are wildly different, which is fantastic. Every question, we have one that's the same. What is your favorite go-to meal?
Okay. So this is hard because my my diet is boring. I eat basically the same thing every day, but
Oh,
it's just a lot of stuff. So a kind of like my main meal that I have during the day is my like would be called like my lunchtime meal, but I kind of separate it up into like, because I eat between clients. So basically I make this massive salad, and it changes sort of with the seasons.
mm,
And I make a massive salad that has a lot of dark green leafy vegetables, so really fresh kale, cabbage, really chopped up shredded Brussels sprouts, and I eat those raw, which some people, if you chop them up really fine, they're so good
mm,
and just so nutritious. I make my own dressing every day with organic yogurt. What kind of yogurt? It's like good yogurt from like
the good
non-GM,
stuff.
non like
Yes.
hormone stuff. And then so I sort of like a creamy dressing. And then for the season, there's so much stuff in it. It's hard to explain. It's so colorful. It's so big. It's so like you really got to chew it. And I usually put some seasonal things. So right now, pepitas, like pumpkin
Mm, hmm.
seeds, sliced apples, stuff like that. That's what I'm into right now. But yeah, so basically, my diet is very sort of boring, but also like very exciting at the same time.
That sounds just super exciting. Now I have a follow-up question, because that sounded amazing, super healthy, organic, GMO, like all these things. What is your favorite cheat meal? What's your favorite junk food? I gotta know.
Okay, okay. For about 10 years since my beginning of my journey, I really didn't have like cheat meals, because for me, I ate like when I learned about nutrition, I started to love the foods that I was eating. And I almost kind of do this trick with myself mentally where I
Mm,
kind of tell myself like foods that aren't that healthy, gross, and it really
mm.
works. But since March of 2020, I kind of was like, you know what, I'm gonna just eat some bad stuff. So for me, ice cream. Ice cream is number one.
Oh.
I'm like sort of like ashamed because I haven't had ice cream in like years, and now I'm eating ice cream.
What's your favorite flavor?
So anything for me, I like anything that has like like creamy vanilla type
Yep,
base.
yep.
So I don't love chocolate flavored ice cream, but I want
Okay.
chocolate in the ice cream. So I want like either
Ah,
chunks or peanut butter cups or oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm talking about
wow.
this.
Wow, your clients are like, wow, but this
I
is
know.
this is what the people want to know, right? I always find it so fascinating. We have these incredibly fit people and professional, world-class chefs, and I just love to hear about the things that they kind of crave that are totally out of their wheelhouse. It's a little bit interesting to me. So thank
Yeah,
you
to me
for
there's nothing
confessing.
better. There's
Yes.
no better food than ice cream. I just it's just not that great for you.
Awesome. Well, everything in moderation, right? And Megan, thank you so much for joining us tonight, sharing your wisdom, your insights with us. This was an awesome conversation, and I really hope you'll come back on and join us and give us an update sometime soon.
Thank you, Drew. I would love to. This has been great.
Well, that was awesome. A huge thank you to Megan for taking the time out of her busy, busy schedule to join us right here on the Wellness Hub, share her story and all of her wisdom with us. It was really inspiring to learn about Megan's journey into the world of fitness and hear her very refreshing perspective on it. And what I love is that Megan stresses body acceptance and mental fitness when it comes to her clients. As a podcast that's all about health and wellness, we're very aware of the societal pressure that's placed on people, particularly young women, to achieve their dream body. And between crash diets, weight loss pills, so many people are persuaded to adopt really unhealthy means to achieve their picture of health. We need leaders like Megan to help center that conversation around fitness and around self love and around acceptance. Now, a healthy body begins with a healthy mind, and a healthy mind begins with a positive self image and really understanding your own worth. Now, while shifting your perspective and self image can seem like a gargantuan task, the great thing about the mind is that it can be strengthened, just like any other muscle while you're working out. Neuroplasticity dictates that adopting affirmations, practicing gratitude, and essentially faking it till you make it can all have tangible and lasting effects on how we feel about ourselves. So today, in the wake of that inspiring conversation with Megan, I leave you with the task of learning how to appreciate yourself, adopt an affirmation, list out your strengths, ask your friends and family what they value about you, and practice self acceptance. It might feel a bit weird, might feel a bit uncomfortable at first, but I challenge you to keep it up until it feels like second nature. This is the first and the most important step of your own wellness journey. Thank you for tuning in tonight. If you'd like to see more great conversations just like this, please remember, like, comment, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, at LinkedIn, at UpMeals. We'll see you next Wednesday evening right here on the Wellness Hub for another fantastic conversation. Until then, I'm Drew Munro. Take care and be well.